Hi, hello everyone, welcome. I'm here today to talk about estimating in a project or estimating a task or for that matter for the entire project. Whether you are estimating the cost or estimating the time durations, they all count. Because as they say, estimation is the yardstick for controlling the project. And they are not wrong. Friend, you might have come across many times that when as a project manager or a project team member, many of the times the things, the durations or the cost which you estimated and the actuals, there are a lot of variances. Why does that happen? Why you are in that situation? It is because we are not taken care of while we are doing the estimation. So friend, estimation is important. We must spend time before going into the project, estimate our things in a manner which will help us while managing the project. If you don't do the initial things correctly, probably you will not able to do it when you are into the project because there are a lot of other things you have to do. It's not because estimation is done earlier when all those push and pulling is not there. When the project is there and when you are into it, it becomes very difficult to catch from behind because you already have the estimation done and now it is the time to execute. So friends, I have few slides for you. Let's go to my laptop and watch those slides, and I request all of you to watch the video till the end. So let's go to my laptop. Here it is, friend, project estimations. Estimating is the process of forecasting or approximating the time and cost for completing a task on the project. Basically, you do forecast things, what are going to be your cost, what is going to be your resource requirement, what is going to be your time duration for completing the project. So you do calculations and get those figures estimated by many processes, and then you move ahead to the project. So basically, estimation is forecasting things for doing it in your future. So basically, what do you estimate in a project? We do these things: project budget, project duration, the timeline, project resource requirement means who is going to work in your project, or what are the materials you are going to procure for your projects, and also the project risks, constraints, issues, what is going to impede your project progress. So all this you estimate before stepping into the execution of the project. So to do that, we need to use some tools and techniques, and they are here. There are 6 techniques generally we use it. There are many others, but I have taken here 6, and we generally practice these 6 processes for estimating. They are the top-down estimates, the bottom-up estimates, the expert judgment, analogous estimating, parametric estimating, and the PUT estimate. Okay, the top-down estimates is a method of evaluating the project budget and timeline as a whole and then separating it into smaller components. Basically creating an overall plan and budget for a project without defining the particulars. In this case, the top management plays an important role in developing the top-down estimates. It is done by the top management for making a broad overview, which means to solve the decision-making gate for the project. This is basically done in the conceptual state or the feasibility study of the project. And it is prepared without detailed project informations. And it is done in a very short duration of time without involvement of the mid level or the operating management level. And also, this is something which you do at the beginning when it is in the conceptual and stages. Therefore, it gives you very few or very less accurate sort of thing. So coming to its use, I told you it is feasibility and conceptual phase. It is a give indicative rough cost or time estimate. Then your total fund requirements for the projects, and also it is one thing which bothers for everyone is, since it is done without much information, the accuracy is minus 20% to plus 60%. And also the advantage is here is the preparation cost is less, some 0.1 to 0.3% of the project cost, which is very minimal, though it has got that advantage, but then its accuracy level is a little bit low. Okay, the bottom-up estimate is a method of segmenting the entire project into smaller components and taking individual cost, task durations and resource requirements and add them together to arrive at a total. In this case, this is an interesting estimate process where you get a very reliable cost estimate. And in this method, you break down the project into smaller deliverables, sub-deliverables, tasks, activities, and then assign cost and resources to those things. And finally, roll up and sum it up to the entire project cost. So basically, this is done at a very micro level and then sum up to the top level. That is the reason it is more accurate, but again it has got its merits and disadvantages, which we will discuss in the next slide. Here it is. It is used for budgeting and scheduling. It is used for to calculating your resource requirement, because even you have to calculate your task level to get your resource requirement done, and also the fund time, because you are preparing the schedule. You need to know at what time you are going to have what sort of fund. Again, its accuracy is -10% to ±5%. This is the advantage, because you are working at a very finer level, micro level, time or cost, you get accurate because it is small thing which you can judge easily. Similarly, but again, here the preparation cost is high. If your project can afford it, like it is 0.3 to 1% of the project cost, and also it requires a lot of people to be involved to get into this project cost, and also it requires a lot of time. You should have time to prepare such a estimate. Again, when you compare these two estimates, bottom-up estimate is really something accurate which will help you to have a better judgment or control your project in future. But generally what we do is, when we have in the feasibility study or the conceptual study, we have the top-down approach, get to the cost, and when you are in scheduling or planning, then for the creation of the budget, then you go from bottom-up approach if you have the time and people to do it. So in these two methods, you come to the real point what is actually going to spend in a project and which will be much accurate. So expert judgment in this method, the team uses its knowledge and experience to estimate what they need to complete, and also determine the reasonable deadline. This is guided basically by the historical informations from prior similar projects and the people, those who have done similar projects before. If they are in the team, they will be able to guide you what are the processes we need to follow, how to go. It is basically used to determine whether to combine the various methods and also how to reconcile differences between them. So this basically combo approach of whether you do part of your project in top down and then bottom up or parametric or whatever it is. So all this method the expert will be able to guide you. So this is, if you have correct competent people, this method is going to give you an accurate estimate. Okay, the next is analogous estimating. Is a method of cost and duration and other parameters from previous similar projects. It is used as basis for estimating the same parameters for future projects, because you have data. You can take those data straight away, put them in your projects, because you have done similar projects in the past. You have those data with you, so that you can take this forward and put them. Then it requires less time, less effort. It helps in preparing a budget or a schedule in the shortest possible time. But the difference of those past project and the new project, then you have to readjust to those differences to fill those gaps. You can use other methods, or you can get work out the details of the thing, and then you can get there. Merit is it requires less effort and cost or time, but again its accuracy level is too high, means plus minus 25 to 30%, because you are taking input from the previous project. There are market dynamics, there are constraints and issues, there are environmental factor which plays in this type of estimation. the dockyards or the CPRs, those who repair, do repair projects, they have the templates, like the mechanical, the electrical, or the construction. So they can straight away use this template and get to this analogous estimate. It takes less time and less effort. So parametric estimating is a method in which an algorithm is used to calculate cost and duration based on historical information or data and project parameters. It uses statistical relationship between historical data and other variables to calculate an estimate. The technique is based on quantitative analysis of important factors or parameters which influences the cost or time of the project. This is, you must identify those parameters and then work on them. For example, in case of a steel construction, it is the tonnage as a unit which is taken, and similarly square foot for building construction and functional points for software projects. So these are readily available if with you from the past projects. You can take them and then calculate based on this algorithm to get to the cost and time duration you need for the future projects. Okay, it is a reliable way of doing things, and it has got higher degree of accuracy than the analogous process. It requires less effort because you have taken those units of measure to calculate or estimate the cost and time. But then you require a lot of inputs or data from the previous project if it is available with you, and then it can give you a estimation of say about 20 to 25% plus minus, right? So next one is the PERT estimate. This is the scientific way of estimating duration or cost for a project. Here I have taken because of the beta distribution formula, I have used here only to calculate the durations, but you can use this for the cost as well. Here you take optimistic activity duration of a task or an activity, then you also calculate the pessimistic activity duration and also the most likely activity duration. You have got these 3 points: optimistic, pessimistic, and most likely. I am not going to tell you more about it, you know it. And also the expected activity duration can be calculated using this beta distribution formula, where you take the time optimistic, then 4 times of the most likely time, and also then add it with the pessimistic time, then altogether divide it by 6 to get to that expected activity duration or expected activity cost. This is more scientific way of doing things. I will just show you an example of it. Here it is. See, here I have taken optimistic activity duration is 5 days and pessimistic activity duration is 11 days, and the most likely activity duration is 7 days. And now calculating with this formula, it comes to 7.33, which can be said as 7.5 days. Okay, if you see here, the most likely duration was 7 days and the PERT estimate is 7.5 days. So it will take you to the close to the most likely duration or the cost. So this is something which is extremely accurate, but again, for thousands and thousands of activity, it's difficult to estimate things like this. It takes a lot of time. You need a lot of people to work on this. But again, for higher level things, you can if you can judge and take the pessimistic and optimistic duration or cost, then you can calculate it. This will give you an accurate estimation. This is also called as the 3-point estimate process. Okay, what are the benefits of accurate estimates? Friend, if you are accurately estimating your project, nothing is better than that. It helps in better resource allocation, effective cost management, determine the scope, assess the project at any point of time, and also better control of the project. When I say better control of the project, it is everything. Any change management or anything, additional fund, work, whatever it is, you can better way manage your projects if your estimations are done accurately initially when you do start doing your project. What are the takeaways? Okay, the takeaways of this session is project time estimation is indeed the yardstick for a project control, and if the yardstick is faulty, you start on the wrong foot. See friends, you are going to measure something, you are going to manage something, or you are going to control something, if the yardstick itself is faulty, if the yardstick itself is wrongly designed, you will never get to a point to manage or control your project. So do remember that you should always do your estimation correctly and diligently. Okay friends, you saw those processes. I specifically, on detail, I told about the PERT technique or the 3-point estimate technique, because this is the scientific way of doing things, and that gives, because that takes into consideration the risk, the resources, the constraints of the projects, all that get calculated over standard deviations, then you get those timeline. So that particular technique, the PERT technique, will able to give you provide a timeline which are very close to the most likely time, and 70 to 80% or 90% of the time you will get to your project, whether in terms of cost or in terms of time, close to that estimation. So friends, thanks for watching the video, and as always, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe and press the like button, and also share the video with your friends. Until next time, goodbye. Thanks for watching.